Today we have a book haul because I went to a book drive and I couldn't help myself, and everything I bought I got for $17, so I can't even feel that bad. Most of this is feminist or political nonfiction, but it's fine. The first book I have is Maternal Thinking, Towards the Politics of Peace by Sarah Ruddick. Sarah Ruddick was a women's studies and philosophy prof. She wrote an essay in the 80s that basically began feminist moral philosophy, which is something that I've incorporated to in my degree of philosophy and political science. The next book I have is pretty much the only fiction book I got, and that is The In-Between World of Vikram Lal by M.G. Vasanji. So this book is set in colonial Kenya from the 1950s to the 1980s, and it's told from the perspective of the main character, Vikram Lal, obviously, from Canada, where he's moved to after he was exiled. And then I also got Bastards and Boneheads, Canada's Glorious Leaders Past and Present by Will Ferguson. And Will Ferguson is a pretty well-known Canadian author who does a lot of fiction as well as non-fiction like this. A lot of it is around Canada, and he also does a lot of kind of travel memoirs, but he's super funny, and most of his books about Canada are super cynical, which I love. So this book, as you may have surmised, is about political leaders throughout Canadian history, and he kind of rules them as either being boneheads or bastards. Another book that I picked up is Passion and Power, Sexuality and History, edited by Kathy Pice and Christina Simmons. I don't know enough about sexuality and history. I haven't been able to find that many classes even at my university that cover this topic. And this book looks really good too because it's not just about sexual orientation. There's also stuff on sexual assault, birth control, venereal diseases, pornography, AIDS epidemics, that kind of stuff. Even just flipping through it, it looks like they have some chapters on sexuality and different class structures, so should be a wonderful, fun, light read like everything else I've bought here. The next book that I have is Pullman Porters and the Rise of Protest Politics in Black America, 1925 to 1945 by Beth Tompkins Bates. Because again, another huge entire part of history that's pretty much left out of the education system, because we definitely need to spend 2 years on both the world wars and a week on the civil rights movement. Hashtag the disappointments of Eurocentric education. The next book I have I was super stoked to find, and that is Feminist and Party Politics by Lisa Young. Lisa Young is a political science professor at the University of Calgary, I think. I actually read one of her essays for my gender and politics class that I took last semester. Her and my prof are actually both contributors to a book called Stalled. Is about the stagnation of women entering politics in Canada, about how we still haven't been able to break the 75% male hold on political seats since the 80s, but whatever, it's totally fine. The next book that I have is the only other fiction book, and that is The Electrical Field by Carrie Sakamoto, and I actually already read this book in high school. I did a book report on it for English. I actually got a note from the school library, but I did really like it. So now I have a copy, and that's great, and the cover's beautiful, and it's also can-lit, so I also picked up the Vagina Monologues by Eve Ensler, which I haven't read yet. I know. Even my dad, when I got home and he saw this, was like, "You seriously haven't read this yet?" And I was like, there is no need to be the feminist book police, okay? And the final book that I got is The Rights Revolution by Michael Ignatieff, which is the 2000 CBC Massey Lecture Series. I wouldn't say I'm like a massive fan of his work or anything because I haven't been exposed to it that much. But what I have been exposed to has been a lot on citizenship and belonging and what is national identity, and I actually thought it was really good. So I'm excited. And I'll be talking about that book and a lot of these books in the super special month of July.